Hello, my name is Miguel Lopes. I'm a physics engineering student and I'm here to tell you about my master thesis, the development of a short-term solar irradiance forecasting system. Driven by a drop in price and an increase in efficiency, photovoltaic energy generation is growing rapidly. In 2013, at least 38 gigawatts of new PV systems were installed globally, covering 6% of the peak electricity demand in Europe. The global annual market is expected to reach almost 160 gigawatts in 2018. In Portugal, although the installed capacity is still small, the average annual growth has been more than 30% for 6 years in a row and is, by far, the renewable source with the biggest annual growth since 2005. As the share of PV in the electricity mix increases, grid and market integration challenges are becoming more and more important for the future development of photovoltaics. Utilities and independent system operators require accurate forecasts over different temporal ranges in order to realize increased levels of operational PV penetration while maintaining relatively low cost and high reliability of the grid. However, PV output exhibits a high degree of unpredictability, which leads to very high costs. Of particular interest to the energy industry are sudden changes in irradiance, typically caused by large clouds or widespread changes in cloud cover. Reduction in the uncertainty of solar generation through accurate short-term solar forecasting greatly reduces solar integration costs. Different solar irradiance forecasting methodologies have been proposed for various time horizons. Currently, physically based forecasting is primarily conducted using numerical weather predictions and satellite cloud observations. However, the major downsides to these methods are their low spatial and temporal resolutions, which results in an inability to predict the precise position of clouds in the sky. To achieve high temporal and spatial resolutions for intra-hour forecasts, numerical weather predictions and satellite forecasts are currently inadequate. Sky imagers, a relatively new technology first introduced in 1984, can be used to forecast from 5 to 30 minutes ahead by applying image processing and cloud tracking techniques to sky photographs. Typical components of a sky imager are a charge-coupled device camera, a fisheye lens or a spherical mirror, and a solar occulter to protect the CCD sensor from direct sunlight. Solar forecasting based on sky imaging analysis generally consists of 4 steps. First up, we need to acquire sky images in the vicinity of the forecast site. The sampling rate of the image should be at least 30 seconds, with a spatial resolution ranging from 10 to 100 meters and a spatial extent up to 8 kilometers. Next, we need to analyze the sky image data to identify clouds. After that, an estimation of cloud motion vectors using successive images is needed. And finally, we want to use the cloud location and motion vectors data to accurately predict solar irradiance. So, first, suitable masks need to be created for the images, so that segments such as the protective shadow band and some nearby objects appearing on the horizon can be discarded. For the crucial step of cloud identification, a thresholding technique that utilizes the camera's red, green, blue channel magnitudes to determine the red-blue ratio is used. Basically, increased Rayleigh scattering of shorter wavelengths causes the clear sky to be blue and the signal measured in the blue channel to be larger. Since clouds scatter the visible wavelengths more evenly, in cloudy areas the red signal is similar to the blue signal. One of the major problems in cloud identification is the circumsolar glare, a very bright region around the Sun, which is even more problematic for low angular positions of the Sun, due to extra forward scattering. Defining multiple thresholds to different regions of the image is one of the possible approaches to overcome this problem. Once a cloud decision image has been generated, the cloud fraction is computed as the number of cloudy pixels divided by the total number of sky pixels. Note that the size of the image to be taken is a very delicate matter. In fact, in some preliminary tests, we found that if the image has too many pixels, the time it takes to process the image limits the temporal resolution of the forecast. However, The more pixels the image has, the better the spatial resolution. Therefore, we need to find an appropriate balance between time and spatial resolution. Finally, cloud velocity and direction of motion is determined through particle image velocimetry. The frames are split into a large number of smaller windows. It is then possible to calculate the displacement vector for each window by applying cross-correlation algorithms, minimum quadratic difference methods, filtering for error vectors, and possibly vector interpolation. A potential problem with this method is that changes in cloud geometry over time are not taken into account. This may significantly reduce the accuracy of the forecasts. Another important factor to take into account is that the time horizon of this method is actually dependent on the residence time of clouds over the field of view and, therefore, on the velocity of the clouds. Nonetheless, sky imaging-based forecasts is the most relevant forecasting method for low temporal and spatial resolutions and, if properly developed, will revolutionize the photovoltaic energy integration into grid.